In 1965, a former VA hospital in St. Louis, Missouri was reopened after a $375,000 facelift. With that new look was a new assignment. In the beginning of 1966, the St. Louis Job Corps Center was open to serve as educational programs and trade training for young people ages 16 to 24. Let's rewind back to Job Corps' history for just a minute. The St. Louis Job Corps program was originally designed by a task force during the Kennedy administration in 1962. When Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, Job Corps' operational plans, costs, and budgets had been well developed, yet everything was put on hold until President Lyndon B. Johnson added it to his program, to his war on poverty. You're now about to see some stories of some young people who defied the odds to be who they are. They said this story's about me, but this story's about them.
Hey, how's it going? My name is William Sutton. I was at Job Corps in 2006. Can't remember the exact months. I met Miss Janet Love my first day there. Kept getting in trouble, and she was the only one that could calm me down, basically. Now I'm a veteran service officer. I'm a retired veteran. I'm also a deputy for my county. I have 3 beautiful children, and I live my life every day to better serve my community and those that have served us.
She kept me in check. When I wasn't up to par, come here, let me talk to you. And I respected that.
Yo. See, where do I start? I was 17 when I first joined Job Corps. I was alone. There wasn't that many people from Kansas City in St. Louis that was in Job Corps, so I was practically alone. I made friends. My experience was pretty okay for the most part. But I'd have to say my godmother, Janet Love, made it a lot better. She took me in, started talking to my mother, and they started conversing back and forth. And she's always treated me like a son since. When I was going through my stuff in Job Corps, going through my classes and everything like that, I always met up with her after my either after class or sometime during lunch. Then I had to go back to class and everything like that. She made my experience a lot easier.
Now, this story is personal. I learned how some people can be family by birth and some can be by love. Watch this.
All right, so here's a quick testimonial. My first interaction with Janet Love, my oldest sister, is back in 2005. Let me give you guys a quick story. So we were at Job Corps. There was a group of other students that we were heading into the lunchroom. It was a big old long line, and I was looking for one of the residential advisors because she was really fundamental in the community of the Job Corps community about church. Like, I'm talking about apostolic Pentecostal church where they shout, dance, praise, and run and give God glory. And so, in the meanwhile, I leave the lunchroom and I kind of move past the bathroom, and my sister's office was right there on the corner. It was a big old purple corner office. And so I had a chance to go into the office and I asked, I was looking for Mr. Cloud, and then I was trying to have a conversation about one of the other residential advisors, Miss White. And so we started getting a conversation, and she began to ask me, she says, well, who do you, what city side of town you used to live on? I told her I used to live on by Goodfellow in West Florissant. And then she says, well, where did you grow up at? I said, oh, I grew up on Thekla and Alcott. And so then a huge light bulb went on when I said that. And then she asked me the question. She says, well, what's your dad's name? And I said, Bobby Love Johnson. And she says, the Bobby Love Johnson? And so coming to find out, we had a mutual connection that we both had the same father. So we start conversating back and forth. When we found out after a couple conversations that we both had the same dad. Okay. And so then a few other calls to our other siblings. We one day I met up at her house and met my other siblings for the first time. And it was like crazy, went from just not knowing anybody, thinking I'm an only child. And now I'm connected to this huge family, and it's a family of close to almost, I would say, about 28 to 30 children of us, like all of us. So that is our life story summed up in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But when I tell you, finding out how really connected we are, you can find a whole lot about a person just by conversating with them, and then them praying with you and you learning from each other, and you be like, we are alike in so many similar areas. So it's just a slight testimonial on all the great things that have happened in my life through Job Corps, and most importantly, how I met my best friend and my sister, my oldest sister, Janet Love. There it is.
Hello, my name is Daria Hubbard, and I met Janet Love at St. Louis Job Corps in 2008. Oh, what a time, what a time, what a time. I was one of her Job Corps babies that was over the top every time. It was only her that could always calm me down. I was rough. But she smoothed out the roughness. So yeah, Job Corps was good to me. And at times I was good to it. Janet has impacted my life so greatly. Even after Job Corps, she's helped me through some of my hardest battles in life, and even some of my struggles. She's been there. She's been a consistent piece in my life that I just cannot do without. So currently, I am a psych tech at Memorial Senior Counseling, where I work with geriatric patients, and I also have my own business, which is called Be Liberated, which simply means to be free. So yeah, that's all I have. See ya.
For those who want to know, my name is Kevin Christopher Harris II. And then some people who know me as Corporal Kevin Christopher Harris II. It all pretty much started way back a good minute ago. I say when I went into Job Corps, St. Louis Job Corps in 2007. Right after high school, literally went down there because I was doing too much up here. So I was like, let me get a new type of environment. And when I did do that, I still brought some of my Chicago ways down there. And there was a particular lady who had a way with words and everything, both spiritual and worldly to a degree. But this Janet Love, this lady literally turned my world upside down. Where I was lawless at, she had made sure that, because she knew that I was pretty much like a Bible kid. And because we will talk that at different times, because she was one of the one of the main counselors there that pretty much almost everybody went to.
Mama, so I met you at Job Corps in 2017. I think you had my brother Curtis ahead of me about like a year, but I came in April of 2017, and I was immediately drawn to you, and you have loved me ever since.
We should have 26.
I appreciate it.
Now, some people had a choice, but they decided to go otherwise. Here's her story.
Well, hey, I am Jennifer Bush Harris, known in other realms as Jennifer Bush. I met Janet about 20 years ago at Job Corps here in our hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. I actually was at Job Corps because my mother at the time thought I needed more structure, and because my aunt, my maternal aunt, thought it would be a good idea for me to go because it could help me go to school. Parenthetical citation, they really didn't. It was a whole thing, child. It was a whole thing. But I actually met Janet through Zach Bilbrook, who we were married. We are now divorced, and from that union are 2 children. So I met Janet before I even had children. And the irony is, I met Zach because, I met Janet through Zach because she had found out that he was dating somebody, and she had to see what caliber of woman he was trying to deal with. And in that 20-year span, Janet is now a person whose guidance I respect, whose voice I listen to, and even after the murder of my cousin, through her diligence, through her prayers, pulled me back from a very, very dark place. And she has always believed in me, always been a source of support, and a person who I believe is a pillar. It is because of her and her support that I've actually delved into and stretched out into these gifts of writing, poetry, speaking, and whatnot. So now where I was this misfit at 21, 22, 23 years old, I am now a almost 44 year old woman with as of this particular video, over 20 published works. My first novel was written, and I'm actually speaking at HBCU. So Janet is Janet is a force of nature, and I am blessed to know her. And to think all that happened because of Job Corps.
Now, this young lady was not a student. She was my co-worker. Let's listen to her story, my work twin.
Hi, my name is Tiffany, and I am a former colleague and a friend of Janet. We first met at Job Corps, and I remember everybody saying, you look just like, and I was like, I look just like who? Right? And so when I met her, I was like, oh, okay, so they used to call us twins. I think the important part of Janet and I working at Job Corps is we both had a love and a passion for the students there. We wanted them to succeed. We wanted them to not only be healthy emotionally and mentally as well as career-wise, but we also wanted to make sure that spiritually they were okay, and that they had balance in their lives. A lot of the kids that we worked with and end up mentoring were children from really not so great backgrounds, not so great family life. A lot of them were breaking generational curses of everybody not having a job, everybody not having an education. So Job Corps was their way to freedom. And I saw myself as well as Janet as people who not only helped them with the career part, but helped them with the mental part. Because as we all know, you have to be mentally healthy in order to be successful. It's not just about money. We see that all the time in the news, right? Rich people who are unhappy. Job Corps experience, thankfully with Janet there on my side, you know, we really did good work with the students that were entrusted to us, the students that decided to use us as mentors. So anyway, we love those kids who are now adults. We love their babies. You know, it was just a great experience for everyone involved. So
There were people who called these kids at risk, but I called them at promise. Promise of what was to come and what's to be.
I'm determined to win. It was promised in the end. I'm covered. God's love will defend. No, I will not back down. I'm protected by the cloud of glory that covers